It's a place where only heaven is higher, Mount Everest in the Himalayas, the world's tallest mountain. Thursday marks the 50th anniversary of the first successful summit climb of Everest by Sir Edmund Hillary of New Zealand and Nepali Sherpa Tenzing Norgay.
For the people of Nepal, the mountain is the home of the gods. For others, it's just the highest peak in the world. Mount Everest. The name alone conjures up images of immense power and vast dimensions. More than 8,850 meters high, it's the greatest challenge any mountaineer can face. In 1975, the first woman reached the top. She came from Japan. Following in her footsteps 24 years later was German mountaineer Helga Hengge. She became the second woman from Germany to complete the climb successfully. The first died during her descent from exhaustion.
The greatest fascination with Everest is that it takes you to your limits. It takes you on an adventure, and you don't know where it will end.
Anyone aspiring to reach the top must first submit themselves to the dangers that await climbers close to the summit. Oxygen in the blood falls to levels that would normally mean a trip to the intensive care unit of a hospital. Reaction times sink. The lungs and brain can fill with fluid. But the reward for such hardships can be a view into the never-ending blue yonder.
You have the feeling the whole world's asleep below, and you're like an angel flying above it.
Everest can be merciless when approached with arrogance, ignorance or carelessness. More than 175 climbers have paid with their lives for the chance to look down from its lofty peak.
I once met a climber who boasted he did 2,000 push-ups a day as part of his training. He was clearly very muscular. I could never compare myself to him. He was at least 10 times stronger than me, but he just didn't make it. He couldn't cope with the height and the pressure that he'd put on himself.
But Helga Hengge did complete the climb. It took 2 months for the 36-year-old from Munich to make her way from base camp to the summit. A constant battle against dizziness, headaches and exhaustion. She finally stood on Everest's peak on the 27th of May 1999, high above all those who dream of following her to the highest place in the world.
And here she is with me in the studio. Helga Hengge, welcome to Germany today. What do those pictures, you were shifting around in your chair a lot during that piece. What were you feeling?
Just wonder. Every time I see them, I feel like, my God, it was the best time of my life. It was so close to the gods, so close to heaven. It was a fantastic journey. And
you've arrived in traditional Tibetan dress.
Yes.
Obviously, you're feeling like this really is something to celebrate, this 50th anniversary.
It really is. Everest deserves all the celebrations, I think.
Now, on Wednesday, Sir Edmund Hillary, who's actually there in Nepal for the festivities, had some pretty harsh criticism of the mass mountaineering that's happening on the mountain. How do you see, or how do you feel about how commercialized Mount Everest has become, or do you feel the same way?
I feel really mixed about that. I think Everest has an incredible attraction, and I was always someone who said, no, I don't need to go to Everest just because it's the highest. I don't, so many other beautiful mountains, but it has an incredible allure. You just can't not go as a mountaineer. It's impossible to say, I choose not to go. It draws you in, and there has to be one day, for me, it had to be one day where I just had to take part in this big adventure. Even I didn't make it, or I was not going to go to the summit. I just wanted to be part of it once.
Now, you mentioned in the piece we heard you talking about one mountaineer who was so much stronger than you, and yet he didn't make it. Why did you make it? Why do you think?
I think I had enough. I think I wasn't so keen on making it. It wasn't my utmost. It was a dream, but it wasn't. I wasn't under pressure. I didn't have sponsors. I paid for it myself, and in my world, it doesn't matter if you go to the summit or you go to base camp. It was not. I went to Everest to be part of this great adventure and to go as far as I could, but I only dreamed about the summit. I never thought I would actually make it.
Now, it was almost exactly 4 years ago that you stood on top of the world. How would you say that experience has changed you?
It has changed me, I think, in every way. in every way. I think I felt like, I still feel that I'm a lucky child in a way, that I've once been so close to heaven, so far above the world, so in such a magic place. I will never, never forget that. Whenever I look into the full moon, I feel like, wow, that was the night we went up in such stillness. It was just beautiful.
And yet, having literally conquered the world's biggest physical obstacle, having fulfilled that longing, can the rest of life measure up after that?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. There's lots of really great
challenges.
Projects. With the Tibetans I met there, I gave them money to build a school, and that was a really great project. That was, for me, even more than climbing Everest, because there were so many obstacles with the Chinese, and that was fantastic to get the whole village rallied up to build their own school and pay for it. It was really fantastic.
And just quickly, on this 50th anniversary, what does Everest represent for you today?
The mother god of mountains, of the world, really. Great, very much respect and nature at its most beautiful.
Thank you very much for joining me, Helga Hengge.
Thank you.